Are we?
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. We're doing another live stream. We
I'm
wanted to
drinking
get on.
ah,
You're drinking cold coffee.
cold coffee.
I'm drinking sparkling water because I had a massive amount of coffee this morning, and I don't want to stay up all night. But we wanted to get on and talk about Russia because that's been going on, a war between Ukraine and Russia. If you living under a rock and you have no idea that's occurring, that's been happening, and it has started to stir up the old Cold War era kind of tensions between our country and Russia, and raises all the questions about nuclear war and what are we going to do? How are we going to get involved? And a lot of people are, I don't know. I mean, people tend to be on the same page now with kind of having to do sanctions and whatnot. But there is the definite question of how far Mr. Putin is going to push this, and if NATO will have to get involved. So because that creates a whole other thing. But if you want to start, Tim, what are your initial thoughts, man? Your streaming, your service is so blurry and lousy. It's like one bar. Terrible. There you go. What are your initial thoughts on everything that's going on? Because I know for myself, and we've been talking about it kind of offline here a little bit, is kind of a worry when it comes to the potential for nuclear type stuff. I mean, it sounds crazy, and you kind of sound like a nut if you're going to start talking about it. But it's like, really, if you think about it, it's like one dude can kind of flip out and push a button, and it's no good scenario. I think no ending solution that's good for anybody. But what do you think?
I was just reading an article here about Russia and how it might not matter if we don't push him or not about, for using nuclear weapons.
What do you mean? Like he's going to do it regardless?
Yeah, just because of the way he's acting. This journalist, I haven't finished the article. Basically, they're saying he has everything he knows about how dictators act and how Russia has acted with nuclear weapons, and that's all they have. So they always go back to nuclear weapons ever since they've been in trouble. They're like, oh, if you do this, we'll nuke you, or we did, we'll use this weapon and so forth. But they're like, he's not acting like that. He's acting a bit crazy in the sense of they don't know if he has. It's like there's no deterring a madman, particularly one who's already lost much of his fortune, possibly his grip on reality.
Well, that's been a lot of rumors in the news, is like that he's not mentally well, and no one's actually said what yet. Like I would imagine there's a lot of spies there, so I don't know if it's just because he's deviating so far from what he normally acts like in history that they're like, oh, maybe has something going on and nobody really knows what. I mean, yeah, that's a little worrisome if they're talking about him going out and wanting to just cause as much shit as possible. Is that basically what they're saying? And Tim is gone for the millionth time, and he's back. You got to bear with this because your internet's just terrible.
So it may not matter what we do. He may be hell-bent on just.
But don't you think?
I mean, if he's already lost everything, because we're sanctioning him like crazy, right? And say we're squeezing him to death financially, and there's no way out for this. What if what is going to stop him from just saying, fuck it, let's just fuck everyone then. If I'm going out, then I'm going to take everybody with me, that mentality.
Well, don't you think he would have already done it, though? Like, if he really was going to be like, okay, I'm just going to nuke everybody, he'll just send them off. He's not going to be like, oh, let's pussyfoot around and try to conquer a few countries, I think he still cares about it.
And he's just arrogant, and he thinks he can just do what he's done in the past, and just bulldoze his way through a country, take it, and we won't pay attention. And then everyone will forget about it, when it's over. But this is different. There's no way anybody's going to forget about this.
Well, that's what I heard. People,
and it's pretty scary when you think of. I'm almost done. About the nuclear part,
Yeah, I want to get into that.
We don't have anywhere to go. Where are we going to go?
Well, I want to get into that.
And you see some of these vacuum bombs, like that's terrifying. Have you seen those things? I didn't even know that existed, and I saw one on video. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Wait, you saw it on video? I just heard him describing it. I didn't see it actually.
No, I'm pretty sure it was an accurate depiction of one on a video in Ukraine.
What's it do?
I don't know if this is a true video from there or not, but it was supposedly a vacuum bomb.
That doesn't even matter. Your face is freezing again, so just keep talking, and if you blink out again, you can join back on. And he's gone. I think what he was saying, he'll come back, is a vacuum bomb um, sucks the air out, and I think it actually sucks it out of your lungs. I want to say, if I remember reading that correctly, and incinerates like the immediate area. And Tim comes back on, he can talk about it. Oh, everybody's staring at his frozen face. Let's remove his frozen face. um, but as Tim and I were talking about, there's been a lot of reports of Putin's mental health, and one of the most important things was that the Biden administration and others were. Oh, look at Tim,
Back.
dude! You got to get like some kind of like relay. That's terrible. I mean, you're frozen all over the place.
Yeah,
But I was trying to say that's what I wanted to mention is they need to give Putin, and the Biden administration has said that, is that an off ramp. Basically, if he wants to get off, you haven't closed it so much and you haven't made it so just you can't go back to his riches or whatever else or old life, that he does say, well, just fuck it. I'm just going to blow up everything. And so that I think is they're gonna I don't think they're gonna cut him off completely like that, because you'll end up in some kind of war because he won't have anywhere to go. And he's like, everybody keeps saying he's like the richest man in the world, richest leader. He's like over $200 billion or something. It's really crazy. Have you heard that too?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Just skimming through this.
you know what's another
I
thing
mean,
that's
I don't
disturbing?
see him. I don't see him just going, "Okay, you guys beat me." I don't see him doing that.
No, I saw
The
a guy gave
arrogant fuck will just like do whatever it takes.
I
You
saw a
know?
guy give really good analysis, and he was like, he gave like four possibilities, and he said like the most likely one that he sees, if Putin's not crazy, is he's gonna take over or kind of just obliterate Ukraine. So like he's gonna keep forcing it and forcing it and forcing it until he wins, and then he's gonna occupy it for a little while, try to put in his government, and when the fighting gets too much, kind of like what happened to us in Afghanistan, or you just get so tired of it, then he'll kind of pull back, but it'll be a while, so it won't seem like a defeat outright. But there's no way he can take a full defeat like right now militarily, because it'll like just damage him too greatly. So he's gonna make sure he
Well,
finishes Ukraine.
I don't think it's us that needs to take him out. It's his government that needs to take him out.
Yeah, you see Lindsey Graham. It's like someone should assassinate him.
Well, yeah, obviously they should, but they need to do that within their own. But then we also, what happens when their government collapses? Like, who's going to take over? And like, you got to look at
Yeah,
that. But I
that's
think
scary.
more of the European countries need to get involved. And it's just us all the time fixing everything.
Well,
Because
now
you
you
got to
have
be careful with this, because he's such a nutcase and he does have nuclear weapons and he's such an egomaniac. You just got to be careful how it goes down. We can't go fighting him in a war. I don't think that'll be good for anybody.
Well, yeah, they're going to draw the line with NATO, and as soon as he goes into a NATO country, then it's a full-on World War III.
Yeah.
But people are, I think, hopefully, again, it's all him. Hopefully, he's not crazy, and hopefully, he won't do that. I mean, really,
Well, I
it's all
think all
him.
these oligarchs, the ones that run the country, I think they need to do a coup and just take it over and just be like, we're
Didn't
done.
they?
We're done with
Didn't
Putin.
they?
Take him out.
Didn't he say they couldn't leave though? Didn't he like lock them all? They're all like in like a certain area.
What I mean, but you put the pressure on them. Maybe this is what they're trying to do: put the pressure on all the rich people so much that they're just
Yeah.
had Putin and they're like, "Fuck this guy, let's get him out and get somebody else in." But I don't know,
Or
how can you even get to Putin? You know what I mean? Like, how do you change? How do they change that? I'm sure they're trying to do that. I guarantee you that's the plan. Not let's go to war with Russia. I don't think anybody wants that. Even though you want to do that, I would love to. I mean, that would be great, just to go and just wipe out that 40-mile line of tanks and you're done.
You have to imagine that some people there. I've seen some kind of worrisome social media things though, and yeah, you can say, oh, the Russian people are scared to say anything against Putin. 100%, I'm sure that's happening. But there's a lot of people who either are through propaganda or whatever else believe that Russia's right. They have national pride. They have this and that. And there's a lot of people that I saw interviewed on the street. Again, I know they're probably scared to say anything. They're not going to say, yeah, fuck Putin. But everybody's following because everybody's scared. So how are you going to get you're not going to get any kind of revolt. I mean, their lives are already kind of hard in some instances. I was reading about like so many people in poverty and whatnot. And it's just like, you're not going to get, I don't know. I'm really not optimistic about. What's that?
What?
I said I'm not optimistic that anybody's going to do anything over there. Like you can kind of wait for like, yeah, I hope there's an assassin who like takes him out, but it's like that's really probably not going to happen. And then we're stuck. And is Lindsey Graham going to go over there and do it? I don't think so.
I don't know if anybody can even get close enough to take him out.
Yeah. I
Like,
don't
it's not
think
going to be his direct circle that takes him out. Because if they take him out, wouldn't they be taken out too? If they're, they're going to be right with him. So if they take him out, then they're gone.
I think it all depends, and I heard this on another report, is that they said that there's CIA crawling all over Russia and keeping
Well, I'm
tabs
sure.
on, hopefully, and I hope this is true, keeping tabs on his mental stability. And if he's nuts, then they'll like start going, hey, something needs to be done before he starts sending nukes our way. And you hope it's like they have inside information. They're like, hey, this is just, he's just,
They
kind of
do
making a
because
show. Go ahead.
no, you're kind of freezing, so I can't tell when you're done talking and not talking.
I'm done.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Go. You're clear for like, I don't know, the first time, so may as well say something.
Well, they've tried to assassinate, what's his name again? The president of Ukraine. I can't pronounce it. I don't
I
remember.
read 3 times. They've done assassination attempts on him 3 times now.
Right. So
Zelensky? I don't know.
obviously
Is that I'm making that up?
something has been leaked, and they figured
Oh,
out the CIA has tipped them off. I mean,
no.
they're probably infiltrated in Russia deeper than anybody knows, I would assume.
Did you read that?
I did.
About how they think the information's coming out? And it was from, like,
No.
is it the defense ministry of Russia or something to do with the Kremlin? I have no idea, because I've been reading so much stuff on those articles. That's a nice frozen blink picture you have there, Tim.
Thank you.
There you go. It's like you're watching like the worst pixelated TV. Your face, it's like 8-bit, like angry.
You're frozen right now on mine.
I know.
You're just smiling.
But they were saying that there's someone in the Russian government that's leaking information out to either Ukraine or us or whoever's passing it to the leadership there, that's kind of tipping them off like, hey, there's another assassination attempt coming, because they've had 3 failed ones. So I don't know if that's CIA people or if it's actual. I'd be more hopeful about this whole situation if you knew it was like Russians and they were just like, hey, we can't have a nuclear war. This is crazy. What is this guy doing? And they're trying to fight it a different way. I'd feel much better about it. But if it's not, if it's us, then I don't feel good about it.
I still feel good about it because we're that infiltrated that we would know, but I'm pretty sure there's people in the Russian government that do not want this to happen, but they can't do anything because they'll die. I'm pretty sure you can't have
You would think
everybody in Russia like him, like that.
I know,
at least in his government. I mean, I wouldn't think so. I would hope not.
But then you have Nazi Germany, and it's like, well, how could that happen? And how many years have people asked that question? And it's like, well, it happened.
I guarantee you, not everybody was a horrible person there, though. They probably were just like, God damn it, I can't do anything. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, no one stopped him though. That's the thing.
Well, I would like to think that. Yeah.
Well, because I told you I read that book. It's called Ordinary Men, and it's been talked about a lot on different podcasts. And it's about were they Polish? I forget what they were, but I think they're a combination of people, Germans and whatnot. And they talked about how farmers and how they became killers, and how they talked about their first kill there, because they were like the police who would like assassinate the Jews. It was horrific detail how they went in and they were vomiting, and some were trying to escape to the woods and they were trying to get out of it as much as they could. But then as it kept going on, they kept doing it and they kept getting used to it. Some would still escape, but they didn't stop it. They would just walk away and not do it, and then they'd come back when it was over. And then other ones started getting a liking to it, and they would actually seek it out and ask and try to get into these different I forget what they call it when they go into the ghettos, where the Jews were, and they had to clear it out because the numbers were too high. It's just really horrible. But it's like you read about like how people can get sensitized to it, and you're just like, well, it makes you have zero hope.
That's a weak person, though. I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
weak human being. You are. Some people tried not to, and they I'm sure they were trying to save them. And I mean, here's stories of that too. So you have both sides of it. You're just not. Yeah, you have some weak ass people that just have a weak character, and
or it's like it's ingrained in you so much from a kid that you're subservient to this leader that you just don't care.
Who's like farming and milking cows, and then all of a sudden starts being a fucking serial killer of Jews. Like, that's a psychopath.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that's
should read it
murder.
because it happens over time, and they would get them all drunk, and they'd have them drink a bunch, so they would get numb to it. Dude, it was nuts. It was
Yeah, they're,
nuts.
they're probably not very smart people. They're probably not very intelligent. They probably, you know what I
That's
mean?
dude. That's a cop out. I think that's a cop out
No, it's
because
not.
I think anybody can do it. I don't think it's just stupid
No,
people.
no, not anybody can do it because you had
I
other
think if
people that didn't do it.
I think if we were raised in that environment and other people, I don't think we'd be much different. And it takes like someone really special to be like "f you" to like the leader at the time. You
It
know,
doesn't take
it's
you
I don't know.
special. It just takes you to open your mind and not be an ignorant ass. Doesn't mean you have to be
Cats
special. You just have
cats
to look
per
at things differently. Like you look at that's a human being that I'm killing. It doesn't take brains to figure that out. You're not killing an animal. You know,
I'm trying. I'm trying to read someone's comment. Cat's Purr says, "I live in Finland. I find it utterly surreal that I'm having to Google, will Putin invade Finland? This whole thing feels like a dream. It feels unreal." Completely agree. It's like
yeah,
and we'll get into kind of what Tim and I have been talking about offline about worrying about a nuclear kind of threat, and it's like it doesn't seem real. I mean, we grew up. Tim and I grew up in the '80s. We were little kids, and then in the '90s we were older. Um, that's math, guys. Duh, we were older in the '90s. But like that Cold War was just like ending in the '80s, and like literally we're back to the same shit. Like how not even what 30 years later or whatever, 40 years later. I mean, it's like
right.
scary, and it's really kind of disheartening. But it's yeah, all the Baltic states, all the states have been kind of neutral in terms of like NATO, and they're not involved in NATO, but they're not part of Russia. It's like everybody's like on the table now. It's like the nutcase going to go for you, and it's like, man, really scary. And more scary if he lets off and does some kind of nuclear threat. So, because I've watched multiple people now talk about how the Russian military is kind of in shambles, and it's not really that great. And there's conscripted army, and they're forcing like 18-year-olds to come and join. It's like a complete mess, but they do have nukes. So I don't know
Well,
if you want to say
that's
anything about. Go ahead, Tim.
no good. I can't see. I can't see if you're done talking. You froze on me. Are you
Yeah,
done?
our connection is terrible, but I was going to start getting into the
So
nuclear thing, but if you want to say anything last things about Putin before we talk about nukes and fallout and what you need to do or what you can do and how abysmal that looks if it happens.
no, I'm done with Putin. I don't think I need to say anything more about that fuck face. But
Casper just said, I'm
you want to talk? You want to talk about nuclear weapons now?
Yeah, let me just read Catsper said
That's
again, I'm an
scary.
old 80s kid too. I remember how we were so scared about a nuclear war and acid rain, etc. back then. Yeah, the acid rain thing is wild. I don't know if anybody is aware of that, but Tim was kind enough to send a video today or yesterday. There was like a
Yesterday.
really slick animation about what happens when a nuclear bomb hits. And just let me read this really fast, and I hope it's clear for everybody. This is just from multiple articles that I read, and this is just one. And they got a couple experts talk about what would happen when it actually hits, and we'll get into kind of some of those grisly details. When a nuclear bomb strikes, it sets off a flash of light, a giant orange fireball, and building toppling shockwaves. I actually read there was two shockwaves. They said to duck once, stay down if you're inside that area, and wait for the second one. I guess you could get up too soon and it could like nail you. People at the center of the explosion, and that is within a half mile for a 300 kiloton bomb, would be killed right away, while others in the vicinity would suffer or could suffer. Could suffer third-degree burns. 1,000 kiloton nuclear blast might produce third-degree burns up to 5 miles away, second-degree burns up to 6 miles away, and first-degree burns up to 7 miles away, according to one estimate from ASAP Science. No idea if they're trustworthy or not. People up to 53 miles away could also experience temporary blindness, which I thought was kind of nuts. It goes on to talk about if you're in a major city and you don't get a lethal dose of radiation, you are very likely to be going to be injured by a falling building or have third-degree burns over a large portion of your body. And this is an expert they're quoting now. There are not enough empty burn beds in all of the United States to deal with even a single nuclear attack on one city in the U.S. Nuclear explosions also produce clouds of dust and sand-like radioactive particles that disperse into the atmosphere, which is referred to as nuclear fallout. Exposure to this fallout can result in radiation poisoning, which can damage the body's cells and prove fatal. And part of that is the black rain, and that's I think it's referred to as Casper said, acid rain. The rain contained and this I think is referring to Hiroshima or Nagasaki when they dropped the bombs. This actually happened over there, and it was thought to be radioactive. The rain contained mud and dust stirred up by the explosion, soot from the fires, and radioactive materials. This black rain exposed even persons far from the epicenter to radiation injury. So Tim we just lost Tim for a second, so he'll come back. But that's really scary to me, and it actually was listening to another expert discuss it, and I think it was the video that Tim actually mentioned, and it was talking about how governments don't typically want to tell you this stuff because it is kind of crushing because there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And especially being Tim and I are in California, there's like no basements. There's no bomb shelters really. I mean, there's like some from the Cold War. I was reading about it. There's actually some built in Southern California in different areas. But and Tim, I'll pose a question to you: Is have you? I don't know. I know there's the reality of it. If you're in the downtown area where this bomb goes off, you're toast, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And if you're underground and you come up too soon, you're going to get like black rain and acid rain falling on you. But having kids, and it's so terrible to think about, and it's really sad that if something like this happens, do you have a plan? I mean, more so for the fallout, because that's what we're talking about. If we can survive the initial hit, right, and Russia's not sending just like every missile they have, which I think could cover like all major cities in the United States, like what do you do? Have you thought about it at all, or do you kind of just
I've never thought about it until now. So now I'm trying to think about it, and I really don't know. And I was talking to Sada about it, and I'm like, man, I don't know what. I mean, we have no like you said, we have no basements here, so there's nowhere to go underground. There's nothing. We do not have a basement at all. So there's some caves. So I live near a mountain, so there's some caves, old mining caves. I don't know, probably 2 miles away from me. Probably 4 miles on a bike ride. So I'm thinking that we could just jet up there. Now again, you need oxygen in the caves, right? So you got to make sure there's oxygen.
Not great caves.
Yeah, but you got to make sure. But it's underground enough to where I think that's where people would go.
It's open. I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we're talking about the worst case scenario here.
They give tours there, though. You know, and you take a little thing. You take a little train down. We've been there as kids. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So that's probably the best option to go there because it is underground, and they could probably block the doors.
I mean, I can say
literally that's all we have. I don't have a bomb shelter. I don't have a basement. We don't even have a crawl space. I think at Mom's house we have a crawl space, but that's not a basement.
But it's all exposed.
You have to lay on your stomach in there. You can't put kids down there.
So they basically said that I don't know. Concrete and brick are the structures that you want to look for, and that's possibly what you could hide in, and that blocks the radiation.
We'd have to go to a mine. That's
so nuts. And then two, like I guess I can generally say where you live. It's not like a secret. So Tim's in Northern California. I'm in Southern California. So you would be probably San Francisco would be targeted if you're talking about just major cities. And we're not talking about military installations because that's a whole other thing. And there's bases everywhere. So who the hell knows? And I'm near Los Angeles, so LA would be hit. So if you think about it that way, and then the way you have to know where the wind's blowing, the topography, and Tim is gone again, and different variables that are going to dictate how much time you have to get to one of these, Tim's secret cave like Batman, or he's back. I just said you were gonna run away to your secret cave like Batman.
That's about the only option I have. What are you gonna do?
But the time it takes. So I was talking about the time it takes from the explosion to the fallout, and there's a chart that was made, and it talks about like if you're within 5 minutes. And it all depends on like where it is and what kind of bomb it is and all that kind of stuff, which you just don't have the information to. And for people listening, I'm going to try to get an expert on about nuclear detonations and like get into kind of some of these details, because I feel like for the normal person, like you're not going to have this information. I guess you could try to identify. I saw like the public library near me looks like it's brick, but I don't know if they have a basement. Is there like, is schematics the right word, blueprints to let me know of the city? Like, hey, this has a basement, and then you're going to go there and you're going to break locks to get in if it happens. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all these different things are probably not going to happen.
Well, you got to have that plan before. You got to plan it out before.
Yeah, I know we sound kind of like crazy, and this isn't, and most people maybe aren't thinking about this, but it's like, if you don't I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice, because even if it's not Russia doing it, there's been talk for a long time about dirty bombs. And if people don't know what those are, they'll take like improvised explosive devices and like get radioactive material and just like really messy, and then they'll take it into a downtown area and just blow it up and let the fallout basically cause most of the damage and the fear. So like
Yeah, but
all this is
I'm
possible.
more worried about I mean, have you seen these vacuum bombs over there? Just seeing that was terrifying.
Oh no, I don't.
Imagine a nuclear weapon. I mean, and supposedly what they're. I don't want to mispronounce the time. How many times more powerful they are than the bomb that hit Japan?
I just read the article. It's like it's 20 to 30 times more powerful.
Like that's just.
I mean, yeah, it's just like
I mean,
you can't even wrap your head around it.
You're not going to know that it even hit. You're going to be evaporated.
Yeah, you will. They said
know.
the video you sent. They described it. We should post it in the link because I think it's pretty good. They described it, I think, as water hitting a frying pan that was like boiling, and it just sizzles off. That's basically what happens to your body, and it's just like Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess like that. If that happens, it's not. I'm not worried about that because it's like you can't do anything about that. Like if you're out grocery shopping and a fucking nuke hits, like you're done. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna be crushed by the building. So I mean, I'm not worried about that happening
it's so
necessarily.
Depressing. Such a depressing topic.
I'm worried about the fallout. And it's like really upsetting to think about having to raise your kids in that kind of environment. You see the pictures of the kids in Ukraine, like in these bomb shelters or different things. They're all laying up with their sleeping bags. I mean, like you just destroyed like childhoods. Like you destroyed it. And no matter what, happens from here, it's just like that part's infuriating. And
but minus the nuclear stuff, I mean, the probability of that happening, I really don't think it will. But Putin's still going into a country and just fucking wiping out kids and causing. I mean, he's destroying childhoods there right now. Like he's doing it now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he has to be held accountable. He can't go back from this. I don't see him going back from this.
Well, I guess, can I say reputation? Like as far as like business and money and different things, I said like he's probably done in some respects. But again, to our point earlier, it's like you can't cut off the off ramp. So if you give him nothing to go back to, okay, well now you've just increased the odds of him like using a nuke or doing something really crazy because dude, he's like the typical villain in a movie. Man, it's crazy. Like it boggles my mind people like this exist still. Like you're in this time, we're 2022 and we're still dealing with this bullshit. And it gets me so mad. And we were texting about it. It's like it is like a dream. It's just like what is going on here? Like how is this even tolerated anymore? But I think it's most bothersome because it's a superpower and they have nukes. This isn't Afghanistan. It isn't North Korea, even though they have nukes. But it's like these small countries that are just like nuts. It's like somehow that's like, okay, I understand that. But it's like a superpower now. And you're talking about literally he could obliterate the world and with nuclear weapons. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like you said, it's depressing. I'm looking at freaking prep bags and food that lasts 25 years. And
well, I mean, I have that stuff just because we have earthquakes here in California and I mean, they've had some pretty big ones even when we were kids. So I think having that is good. Yeah, regardless, I mean, regardless of nuclear weapons, I mean, it's good to have like, emergency food, water, and lights. I mean, because if an earthquake hits and it really big one and it really, destroys a lot of stores and roads and everything.
Yeah, you were just frozen for a second, so I don't know what people are seeing, but I figured I'd join it too. Yeah, no, what kind of, and then for I don't know, people watching, I don't know if they're into this kind of thing or not. We're not crazy preppers. We're not like in the backwoods. We're not like,
not at all.
Fiddling with sticks, trying to light fires and build our own like shelter. It's not what we're talking about.
I don't think I can build my own shelter.
No, I'd be screwed. I'm going to have to find somebody. I'm going to have to find some survivalist somewhere who's probably going to cut me and eat me for food because it's like end of days and I'm going to have to.
No, you're too skinny. I don't think you would.
I don't have enough fat on me. But I mean, what brand do you have? If people are watching and are interested in checking, what's the brand that those buckets you were sending me that's good for like 20, 25 years? I take it you have it in the garage because you're looking. I was going to move and check it out.
I think it's over here.
But they last like 20 or 25 years. And it's like, I mean, we're not obviously sponsored or anything by them or anything like that, but we just bought them online and they're not super cheap. I want to say they were about, I don't know, are they like $200 almost? And I think it lasts. I was trying to find out like what serving sizes and how much it lasts for. Like if you have a family, that's kind of crazy. So my plan was.
So this is my buddy's Incarnate Nutrition So if you wanted something that will make you sleep good and repair your muscles after a good
hilarious
workout, it's my good friend.
Is he gonna pay? Is he gonna pay us now?
He might. I just saw this and I figured I better like throw it up there.
So when the nuclear blast hits, guys, make sure you get your supplements because that's gonna keep you alive.
What's the other one? Melatonin in it. It's graham cracker flavor, so you'll just pass out and not even know what's happening.
People can't see shit anyway. It's so blurry. Like you're literally just holding the bottle. How about you hold up? What's the name of the survival? No, not that. Nutrition. I don't care about Incarnate Nutrition. God,
we'll just put that right there.
Jesus, have them pay you first. Oh shit, that's huge.
Yeah, so this is Wise Company. I don't know. I got these probably 5 years ago. So this one's frozen freeze-dried veggies.
You're gonna have to just say it, Tim, because it's too blurry. People won't be able to see
it. It's gluten-free freeze-dried vegetables. I have meat and I have fruit up there as well. I've never opened it. It's 160 servings.
How much was that when you bought it? Because now they were like $200.
So I want to get a couple more. It's just good to have it. I mean, this is probably going to taste. I don't think it's going to taste really fresh.
Well, as long as it keeps you alive. No, my thing was.
But I know I have red meat and I have fruit. I have 3 of them. So I think I found this on Amazon through a friend. Told me to get it.
I think what I plan on doing is getting like a couple of those, and then like that gentleman told me who was on, and his company was Super SE Straps. He made like survival gear and stuff. I'm gonna get food. So you get like Jesus Christ, Tim. He's like falling over. It's like banging. I'm gonna get like I plan on getting like just canned goods, like things you would eat by yourself for a survival kit, and have that plus those kits. I'm not going to have just the kits because they're way too expensive to buy like a bunch of those, because I'm going to kind of mix and match. Yeah. And then I think the key is if you buy your own food is like, make sure you buy stuff that you eat. This guy was telling me because it makes sense. So then when it gets close to expiring, you can just eat it and then go buy more, and don't just waste food, because that's special made, I think, to like last 20, 25 years. And like, I'm not, obviously a can of beans isn't going to be doing that, but that's some of the stuff you can do. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. The biggest thing for me right now, and the problem, is where to go. If there's a fallout, I don't know where to go. And that's still kind of in flux for me. And I kind of think about it every day and kind of worry about it, actually. Because like you said, I mean, it's not only, right now that the nuclear thing is on my mind, but it's obviously you could use that stuff for other kind of disasters. But I don't know. I have no options right now. And you're talking about freaking caves in the freaking mountains. So I'd say we're not doing good on the planning. Are you frozen? Terrible. Let me pull this up really fast. So what I plan on doing is, for everybody who is interested in the subject, and I know it's not necessarily, I don't know, something that probably most people want to think about all the time, and hopefully this thing resolves peacefully and there's not a problem. But since I've been paying attention more to what's going on with nuclear weapons and everything else, I'm going to try to, I don't know, just get somebody on who can talk about it and maybe can have some tips and ideas, that maybe things you can think about to better prepare. Because right now, I don't know. I really do feel like the government's not going to tell you this kind of stuff. And in fact, I don't even think if something were to be launched that they would necessarily tell you right away. I think they would like try to shoot it out of the sky. And if that failed, they'd be like, hey, you got impact in like such and such time. Because imagine if you told people like, hey, Putin's starting to get his rockets ready and he's pointing them all. I think they're all still pointed toward us, but and starts sending some off, dude, you'd have mass panic. You had toilet paper runs for COVID. There would be like insanity if people knew that nukes were coming in big cities. And I don't think people would hunker down either. I think everybody would hit the road and do some wild shit to get out.
Well, yeah, but you got to give people warning. You have to. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's going to be chaos no matter what. So you give people warning. If it's at that point, you've got to give people warning. If you don't, somebody's going to. So. Did they though? Remember the
it's unrelated, but it was a UFO thing about the guest. Is it Mellon? Christopher Mellon? Remember him?
Yeah.
The State Department of Defense or whatever. So he's like a decent high-ranking government official. And when he was in DC and there was a threat of a nuclear explosion, yeah. So they told him, and they got the politicians out of the city, and they told nobody. They told nobody. And
Yeah, but
luckily, he's all luckily it
yeah,
didn't
but
happen. And he said that on
yeah,
Rogan. So that was like, I stopped and was like, okay, well, that's concerning that you don't even say anything. So I don't think they would say anything.
maybe not.
I think they'd move out. You know, if it was Washington D.C., they're going to move like the president underground. They're going to move whoever else underground, and then the civilians, like, good luck. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Here,
if
you
you take
75-year-old man, we'll save your life, but fuck everybody else.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't think there's any really good answers to this, and I don't think at least
No.
to make you
There isn't.
sleep better at night. I think you're kind of at the mercy of the people running the show, and that's a handful of people that have access to nuclear weapons. So
Well, I think at the end of the day, Putin just wants Ukraine, and he wants to restore the USSR to what it was. I think that's what he wants. You know,
Casper was
he's
asked
gonna
what's
take it no matter what, which is crazy. I just
Cats
don't get it. Like what? Huh?
Catsper asked, "What's the overall feeling among your guys' friends about all this? Are everyday Americans feeling scared about this, or does it feel far away enough for people not to worry?" And yet, in parentheses,
No. You want to answer it all?
no, you can tell. You can say what people at work and stuff have been thinking and talking to you about, because I think that'd be kind of interesting.
So I went down to LA, and there's a stunt guy friend, Tom McComas, who I went. He sold me a mountain bike, and I went mountain biking with him, and they were super concerned about it down there. My friend up here in Northern California is concerned about it. My coworkers are concerned about it. Like nobody, yeah, it's far away, but it's not far away. Everything in the world is just shrunk. And I don't think it takes very long for a nuclear weapon to reach the United States at
That's
any
like
point.
just and imagine
So I
all
think
this.
that's the fear, is that it's just the weapons are so advanced and they're so destructive that you can't run from it. And it doesn't matter where you are on the planet, it can get you. And I think that's the part that scares everybody. I know that's what scares me. You can only be you can't be that far away. I mean, I could be on the moon. I mean, that'd probably be the best spot to be.
I actually read, I
Right?
think, was it Antarctica is the safest place to be in a nuclear attack, because basically there's like zero targets, so no one's going to shoot up there. I would
Yeah.
echo the same thing, and I think people are trying to make themselves feel better over here, and they say, well, if Putin does do something, he's going to target Europe first, or he's going to go after Ukraine first, and they're talking about, well, what if he lets one off in Ukraine, and what are we going to do, and all that kind of stuff. So I think there is a distance, kind of like, well, would he really go after us right away, knowing that, again, you have to talk about his sanity, um but yeah, I mean, I think it's like 45 minutes or less is the time it takes for something launched, like in the nuclear Russia, North Korea region, to get here. So it's like super fast. Um, so there isn't any kind of sense of safety, I think, in that respect. Like maybe there used to be like an invasion and whatnot. If you talk about invasion, then yeah, everybody over here is like, yeah, it's not going to happen to us. And plus, we're a bunch of gun toting crazies. So I think we're kind of feel safe in that regard. But
Yeah, I think they're
yeah,
messing with my internet. It's going out every
yeah, this is
minute.
terrible compared to how it was last time. So, but I think to Catspur's question, I think if I was to be the most scared, I'd be like in those countries that Putin basically wants to take back again, and that he's threatened. Tim is gone again. Um, I think if I was in one of those situations, then yeah, I'd be kind of worried. But I think if it does come to that, you would imagine that NATO and America, even if they attack non-NATO countries, I mean, there's going to be a point where if he keeps going after countries. I was saying, if he keeps going after these countries, I don't think we're going to sit out anymore. I think this is Ukraine thing is kind of like, yeah, you can have that, kind of like the Crimea thing.
Yeah.
But I really don't think we're going to allow it to just keep rolling, because it is, and everybody's saying it. It feels like Hitler. It feels like he's taking
It
little
does.
pieces and he's going to start the ball rolling and just get. I don't think that'll happen again, just
But I
because I
miss,
feel like we're all like aware of that possibility. So
I missed what you were saying because my internet keeps going out. But I'm going to go back a couple things to when I was mountain biking down in Santa Monica, that area. We passed, and Tom was showing me the Nike missile silos. I didn't know that was down there. So I think these were around in the 40s. I could totally be mistaken. I can't look it up to see because my internet's not working. But they were used to shoot down missiles that were coming over the Pacific at us.
What do we have now? Do you
And
know what we have now?
they're deactivated. No, but we went up and looked at them, and I didn't know they were there. There's a few of them. We looked at one, and we were talking to these other guys that were biking. They're like, and we were talking about Russia at that moment. We're like, man, what do we have now? We were saying what you said, like, man, we better have something better. And I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't that great. I think a guy was sitting up there with binoculars looking over at the Pacific and seeing if he saw anything. And then they let it. Yeah, I don't think it was super advanced, but obviously at that time it was. At that time it was.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I never thought about this. And now you're like, man, every other thought. I think I even woke up thinking about it one morning. I'm like, man, I got to I'm reading so many articles.
I've done that the last 2 days. I went to bed worrying about it and I woke up worrying about it. And it's the kind of worry that it's like for your kids and stuff. And I know like you don't have to have kids to be worried about it. It's not what I'm saying, but it just adds another layer of just like kind of a sick feeling. Like I'm not doing my part as a parent and like their guardian to like figure something out. Like, what am I going to do if shit hits the fan? And I haven't figured it out yet. And I think that's what's bothering me. If I had a plan, like I know it might not work out. I know I might be incinerated if it comes to that, but at least I feel like I've done something to where if something happens, like I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing right now. And it's really bothersome. And I don't know if that's the same for you.
Yeah. It's like a monster. It's almost like you're a kid and you have this monster that can get you and you can't run from it. That's what it feels
like. It's like a weird bad dream. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bad dream, and there's this thing that can get you, and you don't know if you're going to be safe or not. You don't know where, but it's just such a bizarre ass.
For a humor, have you seen the meme where the guy says COVID's over? I think it's on TikTok, and he takes off his mask, and then he's like all happy, and then it says World War III, and then he grabs and puts on a gas mask, and I was just like, dude, that's what it feels like. It's like one thing after another, never gets better. Catspur says, so if Americans are concerned, have you guys noticed any signs of Americans becoming more united after all the horrible political divide over the past years? I'll just speak from my own experience. I stopped worrying about all that petty shit and like who's on what side and what politics going on. I'm like, all I'm thinking about is like, how are we going to stop that dude? And is someone going to take his ass out? Or are we going to get a bomb dropped on us? Or like, it's such like a wide open variable of like, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, it shows you how trivial all those other problems are, and they're really first world problems.
Yeah,
those little problems that we have are really they're not. I wouldn't say some of them aren't trivial, but they're just it's ridiculous to fight over them. None of this stuff should be fought over. But then when you have a real problem, like this is a real problem, all that stuff gets pushed aside. Like COVID, what happened to COVID? Oh, that's gone. Oh, all that's just wiped aside, and now because you have to face a real danger. But I've seen that, yeah.
It's very similar.
Everybody's focus has changed, in a week, like in like 7 days, everything just went whoop.
It's very similar to kind of like when you get just enveloped in just silly, stupid day-to-day shit that you're like worrying about or stressing about, and then you realize like, oh, hey, what's really important? Or maybe you have a health scare or something happens to where like you could be snuffed out like dead. And then you realize how trivial everything else is. I feel like this is the exact same thing on the world scale with war. It's like all this petty politics, and then you have something like, hey, that means something because that could. Now, people are trying to debate and argue, was Biden too easy on him? But dude, this has been presidents like way before. Everybody's kind of like, well, let him take Crimea, then we'll let him do this, and he's been talking about this for a while. So everybody's just like, oh my god, he's doing it now. So nobody likes a preemptive war. I mean, I've said that a million times. Nobody wants to go into these places and go, okay, well, he's done this. Let's take him out. We were just in Iraq, just in Afghanistan. And now we're going to go into Russia. Jesus Christ. Sounds terrible. Yeah. So Tim's back again. I think we're about to wrap it up. I was just going to say, Tim, I think we're about to wrap it up because yours is a hot mess, but I don't know if you have any last words to bestow on anyone.
I wish I did. I don't really. I don't have anything. I mean, other than, just really, I think everybody's goal is just to take care of yourself and your family and just
have a plan.
I think everybody's just hoping that doesn't escalate into, the truly horrific thing that it could. But you just have to now. This is where you have to trust your governments into really finding solutions and all the spies and all that stuff that goes into, you know,
Yeah.
finding all their secrets out. I hope this all works out, because there's a lot of ways that this could just go sideways really quick. Because I
Yeah.
don't think anybody suspected him even invading Ukraine, and then he did.
Yeah.
And
There was
now
some
it's just been
report
like a
today.
snowball effect, and like he's doing this, he's killing. Like, I don't know why, but like you said before, I don't know why anybody's shocked. I mean, he's an evil person. I mean, as you saw, like he's been probably planning this for how many years?
Oh, he's been talking about it
And
for a
this is,
long time.
I think
Like
this is just the perfect opportunity to do it. You
yeah.
know, like America's been fighting, we've been fighting in ourselves, and then COVID and the whole political, you know, stuff going on here. And I think this was just the time to do it.
It's the resurgence of the Russia, the motherland, and all that stuff. And I think a lot of people over there buy into that too. So I don't know. I
He
don't
just
know.
saw
I
it
know
on
it's depressing,
TV and
but
took it. Yeah, he probably
so
saw the president of Ukraine is weak, and he's not. Dude's
yeah, they're
fast.
obviously fighting and putting up a big fight. So yeah, but
Oh, yeah.
I would just say plan, and I'm gonna try to figure something out without being neurotic and letting the fear kind of drive everything and like thinking about it every day, because it's not healthy. You don't want to do that either. But I do want to plan. It's going to make me feel better. So once we get that kind of solidified, or we have any kind of like ideas that are interesting, or maybe tips that we have, we'll let you guys know. The show is the Dad's Doomsday Guide, and we say that because we cover anything extreme and kind of crazy. But um, obviously no one ever wants to see like some kind of nuclear disaster, you know, and it's just like Jesus Christ.
No.
But if we get anything, and like I said, I'll get a guest. We're working hard to get a guest on, talk about this stuff. Um, and we'll go from there. Cat's Purse said, "Thanks for the stream, you two. Love your channel. Found you guys about 2 months ago and binge watched so many videos." Ha. Well, thanks for
Thank you.
watching. Yeah, we
Thank you.
really appreciate it. And we're trying really, really hard. We both work and have a bunch of kind of crazy schedules. So we try just to keep getting guests on and keep building the content out. So we hope you enjoy it. And if you have any suggestions or things you want to see covered, I know I always say that on the podcast, but do let us know, because we like to kind of feed the niche of what people want to see. And, you know, we do a lot of paranormal stuff because people like it and we find it interesting, and a lot of the questions it rises. And but if we'll cover pretty much about anything if we can find somebody to talk about it who's not crazy. We try to avoid the
That's the
crazies.
key. Let's not be crazy.
Yeah.
Keep it
All right.
together.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Again, you can email us, podcast@dadsdoomsdayguide.com, podcast@dadsdoomsdayguide.com. And check us out. We try to post podcasts every Tuesday. We're trying to make sure each of those is a video too, so you can watch it on YouTube. Sometimes guests don't want to be videoed for different reasons, so that's why something's not always on there. But yeah, hope you guys like it.
Thank you.
Oh, there's you go. Yeah, I see your suggestion, Cats. A suggestion guide: how to speak to your children about what's going on. Yeah, I was telling my kids there was a war, and
I didn't say. I said nothing.
Oh, you didn't tell her?
No.
I told mine
No.
that there's
But
something
why?
going on because,
Well, my point is why? Why am I going to tell her right now? She's 5.
well, I didn't get into
One's
grisly
2.
details, and I didn't say
No,
anything
but
about nuclear weapons or wiping us out from the face of the earth. I didn't mention any of that.
yeah, I know.
But
I'm
I
not going to
just,
say anything until she asks. Or I mean, I just want her to be a kid and not worry about any of this evil stuff.
yeah, but I remember when we were little. I remember when the first Gulf War broke out, and I remember watching the TV. And now you see it on social media, which is really weird. I can watch social media videos of a war, whereas then we saw a map, and it was like Kuwait, and it was like some dude talking on a satellite phone, and you heard in the background like da, 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 and all this gunfire and like the bombs and the air raids and the air raid sirens. And I remember like being kind of worried about it, but like it was so far away, and my parents were really engrossed in it, and they were just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's like across the world." But I remember that being kind of concerning. But she saw me watching TikTok, and she saw me watching one of the videos of the war, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And she's really asked a ton of questions. So I was just like, "Oh, some bad man is invading another country." I forget why. I didn't get into super details, but she's already forgotten about it. Meanwhile, we haven't.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't tell even work stuff. Like, I'll say I just keep all of that away from her because they're kids. It's such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
they don't have to worry about anything bad, and I just want them to. At least at 5. I mean, I don't know. At some point, she's going to figure it out, but hopefully, this all Well, I'll show
Hopefully
up.
not in a
If I
bad
had
way.
to
Yeah.
say anything, I would just say the truth, and then she'd have
Yeah,
nightmares. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's
they they
tough.
compare it to movies. So like they'll watch like a villain in a movie. So that's why I tell her, and she's like, oh, and she'll relate it to like I don't know, some Disney movie or like Darth Vader or like some bad, you know what I mean? It's like they do that, so it's fine because you can kind of
Yeah.
mask it in almost like it's a fantasy or not real. It's science fiction or something. I don't know. Oh, I'll leave you with the last thing is that you better hope all those stupid UFO stories about shutting down nuclear sites are real.
I know. We need the
You better.
aliens now.
I don't care if it's an alien. I don't care if we have the tech. Somebody better shut that shit down. Like I'm not even kidding. Come on. This is like I was infuriating. All you nerds want to talk about how this is happening. Well, somebody better goddamn do it.
I'm all about it. I would love that stuff. I'm like, shut it down. Let's do it. God damn.
I thought of an image like all these like nuclear like missiles are coming towards you, like falling out of the sky, and all of a sudden this like alien mothership like swoops in, and it's like boom, and everything freezes, and you're like, oh, the gods.
And take Putin with you. Dissect him, take him apart, and just I don't know, do whatever you want with him. God damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't if that's real. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit.
They want to watch it. They're like, okay.
They've watched. Yeah, they watched us drop it on Japan. That's no one stopped that. So no one's stopping it. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's gonna like. It's okay. I'm not worried about it because they'll stop it if it gets to that. Like the other people, the other dimensions will stop it. It's like, well, good luck with that. I'm gonna have some frozen food in the freezer. I'm not giving you any.
Man, it's just nutty times. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. We're done.
Yeah, I guess we're done.
All right. Thank you guys for coming in, and we'll try to do a more popular time than Friday night, like when everybody's sleeping or out with family. It's a terrible time. It really is. I'm just it's really hard with our work schedules to do it, but we're gonna try to like do some other ones. Kind of know most people will see this on a replay, but we'll try to do it more popular times, and we'll try to advertise it a little bit so maybe people can come in because it's more fun. And thank you, Cat's Purr, for talking and chatting because it's more fun for us to answer questions and bounce ideas around and discuss things. I mean, that's like the best part of a live. So. As we get bigger and we get doing this more, we'll definitely incorporate more time.
Really hard is when a 2-year-old is like pouring stuff on the floor and screaming, and you got to chase her around. I mean, yeah,
mine.
The 5-year-olds with the 2-year-old, and it's just.
My youngest chucked the glass, not on purpose, on the floor, hit the floor, milk went everywhere, shattered the glass. So I was cleaning that up, and I was just like, ugh.
There's no sitting down. Like you can't sit down and talk.
No,
you got to constantly move. I mean, if you could like. Have the video here and you can just walk around and
nobody wants to see that. Cat's Purr, I don't understand how you guys didn't have hunters watching and chatting and what an actual I think it's just time and people to know it, and I think a lot of people who do it well let people know that they're about to go live or like a schedule, so then people can like kind of like make it, hey, weekdays at this time they're going to go live. So that's just the nature of us getting better at it and doing it at better times. Oh, so yeah, she said I mentioned the UFO thing to my sons, and they just looked at me like I was screwy. Looked at me screwy. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna save us. That's the kind of thing that if it,
I wish.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking. I think in a lot of respects. But all right, everybody, thank you very much, and until next time, we probably won't have a new episode this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday we will. All right, everybody, later.
Yeah.
Bye.